Good morning, everyone. Good to have you all. Bright and early and bright and late, depending upon what part of the world you're in. Today is Monday, August 20th, 2018. Get ready for the Emerging Sea Broadcast System, the Forbidden History Series. What they didn't want you to know, but we tell right here. Because somebody's got to do it. Please tell your friends, ladies and gentlemen. You did tell your friends, right? Thanks for doing that. We now interrupt your normally scheduled programming to bring you this very important deprogramming program. And special thanks to YouTube.com for hosting the Forbidden History Series. Please note that the following views and the opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily the views nor the opinions of the Master Force Group, YouTube.com, Free America Radio Network, our sponsors, our partners, and MFG is a private society. Nothing here is ever to be construed as medical, hate, nor legal advice. And listen to the Forbidden History prime time 7 days a week right here on the realpublicradio.net, because hidden beneath the sands of time lies the greatest of all mysteries. It's the Forbidden History. Unearth for yourself the secret truths that lie hidden just beneath the surface below our feet. What is it that the powers that be do not want you or I to know? Come and journey with us as we explore and dare to know, because it's all right here, coming your way, 9 a.m. Eastern Time on the realpublicradio.net, Free America Radio Network. It's what they didn't want you to know that we tell right here. Thank you for the heads up. Coming to you live from Studio Z at the Lighthouse in Central Ohio, in Central Amish Country, the heart of Amish Country, right here, and Free America Radio Network in the land of dreams, enchantments, and nightmares. It's the Forbidden History Series, and yes, I'm getting old, ladies and gentlemen, and that's okay, because somebody's got to do it, and you needed a veteran, didn't you? That's right, because we are the deprogramming program. And it's because there is a battle going on. It's a big one. It's a battle for your mind. And the light is truth. And truth is the light. But ignorance, it is darkness. And it is deep, ladies and gentlemen. And these are the great antagonists, one against the other. And which one wins? Well, the one that you feed, of course. Good morning, Lydia. Good to have you on the program. And once we can begin to comprehend the true nature of things as they really are, then we can begin to comprehend that there is nothing more to complain about, ladies and gentlemen, because once you comprehend the nature of the world, you know that this is not your planet. You just crash landed here for a momentary experience, a spirit having a interaction on a lower plane before you can take it back up to the sun, to the throne of the sun, of the great light. You don't know what you don't know, ladies and gentlemen, until you listen in, okay? But if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. You did tell your friends? After all, you wanted to know, didn't you? For of all things that great civilizations can create, the only thing that they cannot create, ladies and gentlemen, is light. It is light. And the best way to identify the truth is to identify the great lies of history. and welcome to the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Desert Owl, a bird who sees in the night, and it's quite a burden to know the score, because it ain't pretty. It's or just like that first. I just flashed when I said that to that first um, astronomer down in South America, I think in Chile. I can't remember his name, but Matt Rogers mentions him periodically and shows his picture. And his last photo was he's like in his 90s. He's like 95 years old and he's still ticking. And the impression on his face, because he knew what was coming. And he may have also read the records, because if we read the records of ancient history, then we'll also know what is coming as well, because there's nothing new under the sun, and what's coming around has come around before, and it's come around many, 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 many cycles. It's just the nature of our cosmos, but people are controlling information when they should be looking out. Carlos Farada, thank you very much, Sandra. That's right. And so he was the first one who was honest about it, but it didn't go beyond that, right? And then the other people that thought it was okay to talk about it, then they got poisoned and killed, like the one who set up that observatory in New Zealand. So it is a burden, and you will know the truth, and the truth will make you a fugitive, and then they may even want to kill you, and they first they will want to kill you, and then if they have enough nerve, then they'll go ahead and do that too. So, and I've seen a lot of great patriotic Americans in particular, since that's the land I'm on here. I'm not so much, privy to a lot that's gone on in the other parts of the world with other patriot type people, but you do suffer persecution, and I've seen so many great Americans and Texans. I was part of the Texas Republic, Take Texas Back movement, and I knew J.C. Van Kirk and Gary Graham. Gary was poisoned, railroaded into prison and poisoned with some cancer, and then when he got out, he didn't live very long. So his arm broke. His arm just snapped one day, just literally snapped, and then a week later he died. That was how much notice he had that he was going to die of cancer. So the struggle for truth does create certain liabilities. It's not for the tender-hearted. It's not for those who do not want to take responsibility for their lives, and and it's very few. The cream, that's what the old axiom is: the cream comes to the top, and so you got all this milk, you got a gallon of milk, and then at the top you've just got a little layer of cream. And so it's the nature of our world. Most people don't want to know. Don't bore me with the facts. Just give me the fiction. I can't handle the truth, right? So we're in trouble in our world, ladies and gentlemen, and there's we we absolutely need each other, in the bigger picture. To be alone with the truth is really a burden, because you love somebody to be able to talk to about all this stuff, right? And I know you sky watchers out there, you're all, you know what it's like, because you want to tell people, hey, do you see what I'm seeing up there? And they're saying, what are you talking about? Get out of here, right? And you can't convince them. And now they're actually all the movies, the old movies, and all the different photographs and stuff. They're putting uh, aerosol trails, injection sprays in the photographs, and so people are actually thinking, well, yeah, there it was back in 1970. There, look at that sky, right? And so they own the world, basically, ladies and gentlemen. They own our labor. They enslaved us. They can do anything on a monumental scale. To think that they bring up one civilization, then they take it down in their 500-year cycle, then bring up the next civilization. It was Mitzrayim, falsely called Egypt. That word did not exist until 350 years ago when they gave us the King James Bible. That's when the word Egypt was fabricated to cover the original term Mitzrayim, an abbreviation of the Mitzrayim, very powerful word when you know the meaning of it. And so they have this ability. They brag as the creators outside of You know, the Great Collider in Switzerland. They have the Shiva doing the dance, standing on a baby in the mandala circle, and she's known as the creator and the destroyer. You see, they claim to be both. They're creators. They love it. And that was what it was about at the very inception in the garden as well, because that's what the Naga Adam told Keva. He says, you know, we will be like Elohim. We will be creators. That's what he meant. And but he didn't never intended on being a destroyer. But ultimately, the race, this Aryan race that had been gifted with so much knowledge, decided they'd rather enslave mankind rather than save mankind. That was already here. They also had their Adam and Eve, okay? The other races at different times. That's one of the greatest enigmas I never thought I never saw coming when I realized the true nature of what was happening. Clearly, the Aryan race is a different race than the Chinese, a different race than the African. So each came at different progressive cycles of time. And the last one was the one that actually was made first. The first made man, Adam, was the last one to come on the scene. He was up there in the throne of the sun in Eden, which is the atom. That was corruption for atom, the great atom, the microcosm like the macrocosm like the microcosm, the great symbol called the logo, the sun. You know, I have to keep repeating these things so you finally will get the picture, because these are the things that they have hidden away from us. And so it takes a while to finally, get the picture that whatever we were handed on a silver platter when we came into the world is part truth and part lie. The story in general is correct, but it's just the details have all been messed up so that we would never know who we are, where we are, why we are, when we are. And we got a kindergarten tale when it's a university story. It's different. It's almost there, but it's not there. We got to go to the detail, because our struggle is within the details, and we need to know those things. So I want to do another read of the original gospel today. That's I'm going to read chapter 1 on that. I enjoyed reading that for you yesterday, and I hope you did as well. You got to see it while I read it. That way you can see how I am working on what is the most important transliteration of scriptures in modern time. And but first of all, a great lie of history. And history is silent story. And so nobody's telling us correctly. And then they adjust all of the the scriptures. So we they make sure we're not going to get the picture. I can't get over it. I'm already losing my voice this morning. I may not have much long endurance here this morning, but I'll give it a shot. So I just wanted to point out something that nobody really talks about is the two genealogies. We got one genealogy of Yeshua in Matthew, and then we have another one in Luke, and we see they're very different, right? Excuse me. Well, the genealogy in Matthew is through the line of Joseph, of Volshaf. Okay? Volshaf. Okay, Ninja, way to go. So then the one in Luke is the line of Mary, and what they do is they just make it look like it's the line of Volshaf, Joseph, and it could be for one of two reasons. One, that it had to be ascribed to the line of the male, because the male gives covering for the woman, or it was a scribal mistake, or they outright wanted to lie to us. But no matter what, the lineage in Luke, excuse me, is from Mary, and so there we see both Joseph and Mary were both in the royal line. That's what it proves. That's the beauty behind this great mystery and the power of Yeshua. Okay, hold on a minute. I got to mute out. So I just wanted to share that with you. There's so many enigmas that it defies the imagination, and so the important part is that now you know that, and you can then begin to reckon it. You know, you can reckon with it because it absolutely does make sense, and therefore it shows that there is no conflict between the two genealogies. Other people, whenever they don't really get it, you know, they always try to rationalize it with some concocted idea that you know, is just absurd. And there is a logic behind you know, these explanations. Good morning, Liz, out there in Dublin. Great to have you this morning, and great to have such wonderful friends to hang out with every day. And so anyway, share that with you know, your friends. You now, you know, you're learning a few things you know, just by being at the right place at the right time. You didn't have to fast for 20 days or you know, go out in the cave and you know what I'm saying, that the Heavenly Father wants everybody to notice stuff, but because the lies and the deceptions have been so great, he had to grab somebody by the neck named Desert Owl and give him a giant download so that he could just pass it on to everybody and save you the trouble. He just wants you to have the pieces of the puzzle so that you can then make all the connections and therefore um, you know, have an easier transcendence, because it's hard to overcome this world when it's all lying to us. Everybody's lying, and I don't know why. I don't get it. You know, I don't know why people. Well, we do know why. Of course, we do. It's because they're on the drug, and the drug is self, the greatest drug of them all. You know, I never said this or thought this before, but I find it makes sense, doesn't it? The greatest drug of them all is self. Wow, put that in the psychology books, right? Self, the ego, and then the physical passions that say, give me more. I like that. Give me more. And and all of a sudden it's all out of control. And then ultimately the final thing that they want is forget the money. They got all the money they need. Then they just want power. Just give me that power, babe. You know? Yeah. Wonderful world, Mr. Smith. Mrs. Smith. Elliot Smith and Jones. Oh, the two most basic secret agent names that they use. Jonas, Jonah, Yonan. All right. So I'm going to read. Oh, I'm in the wrong book here. I'm going to just read the next scripture, and then we'll be in symbolism. I'm going to go back to symbolism here, and I'm just going to roll through some. I'm not doing much of a diatribe today. I'm just wanting to read through these books. I'm trying to bring you the best possible books to read out of friends, you know, because I know that there's not enough time left to read, you know, to read the books and to pull this stuff together. And so that's the beauty here, is that I can give you the highlight, and you and save you the trouble. There's not enough time and the books to, you know what to get and how to, you know, when they're all been adulterated, all you know, tampered with by the priesthoods. That's their job. You know, they're doing their job. So so we're in the gospel, the star message of Thomas. And you know, I convert everything into original thought as much as possible, and you've got to just stay with it, because it ultimately will make sense, and you won't be saying, what did he say, you know, because and going back to the beginning of the programming helps. I'm amazed at some of you, how much, you know, you've listened to. I don't want to name names, but some of you have. I got word this weekend. One of our wonderful listeners listened to 8 hours of programming on Saturday, I think it was. Yeah, thank the Father. Yeah, and he's not finished with me yet either, Shelley. I'm praying for help this morning. I can't. I'm really. You know, we're all in our own struggle, and we have to conquer the self, and we have to look higher up than we've ever looked before, because it's the Father's will. You see, we're tested by the illusion. These illusions are testing us, but there is something. The Spirit is here with us always. In fact, it's His whole purpose is to save. That's the whole purpose. But we lose trust. We lose sight. We lose vision. And be careful out there. Okay. So So anyway, we have to maintain vision, and the best way to maintain vision is by reading the Shavors, or tuning in right here. You get a concentrated dose. This is like a capsulization of a lot of deep material, all in one program. Forgetting the series. The series is creating a legacy of information that is transcending. I'm just saving you all the legwork, okay? And I pray for all of you every day. Create light for you, because when I see how hard it is for me, okay, to overcome the self and to overcome the illusions of this world and to be set free, and to be tight with my elder brother Yeshua, and one with the great Father of Light, Yahweh. I know how difficult it is for all of you out there as well, okay? And so just keep looking up. You got to look up higher than you ever looked before, and it always goes higher and higher. There is no end, okay? Because that's the examples we have within nature, comparing the atom to the sun. The sun is the great atom, the Eden that they didn't want us to know about. In the light, it's in the light. It's a symbol. It's a logo. It's beyond that, okay? But that is the great symbol. That is the great Olavhaim, the son. Okay, and when we have a boy, what do we say? We had a son. Why? Because he's the power in the house. He's the one who is going to receive the inheritance. He's the one who's going to plow the field. He's the one who's going to bring home the bacon, right? The son. The son provides. The son is the provider. We lose these things. Good morning, Love Matters. Way to go. Good to have you. So, okay, so I'm going to read the star message of Tolma, verse 6. And Yeshua's discipline, I asked him, saying, do you want us to fast? How should we pray? And should we give to charity? What diet should we observe? And Yeshua breathed, do not lie, and do not do the things that you hate, because all things are disclosed before the royal throne of the Son. For there is nothing hidden that will not be revealed, and there is nothing covered or in secret that will not remain undisclosed. Okay, so that's another good one for today. And I'm just doing one a day to sift through these things, add a little spice to our presentation this morning. The star message of Tolma. And Tolma, you take the A and put it in front. You got the atom. The atom is right there. He's telling you with his title, the duplicate, not the twin. He's the duplicate. Yeah, they've had fun with our shavors. They've had a shavor on us. Okay, and don't forget, if you want to call in, you have a comment or a question, great lie history, little snippet that you think you can see, or you have a word, a shavor you want to share with us, or have defined. I'd be happy to try to define it for you if it's been one of those that have been egging you on. Okay. And 608-566-7295. 608-566-7295. And so in the book of symbols, this is the a dictionary of symbols by Cirlot, C-I-R-L-O-T, C-I-R-L-O-T, the Philosophical Library. And this is a good one. This is a good definition today to talk about, because it's on point, because it's about the point. The definition is point, P-O-I-N-T. And because that's what Yuda represents, actually, you see. Yuda represents the point, the dot. And the dot being the smallest of all the symbols, yet it is the most powerful. Okay? Let me turn up my fan a little bit. Hang on. So Yuda is actually Yutha. The D is the corruption. Remember, I show this in words over and over. Just like the word hand, H-A-N-D, is actually Han, H-A-N-N. That would be the correct. They corrupted, they abbreviated at the College of Abbreviators out of the Vatican. Okay? The Han. And what it literally means is, because in the word A-N-N, drop the H for a minute, A-N-N, Han, the An, and there's an imaginary A after it. and it's a vowel. You can put it there anytime, and you get Hannah, but it's Han for in regard to your hand. Okay, and what does it mean? It means the breath of continuance. That's what Han means, the breath of continuance. Why? Because you use your hand to create everything. We do, right? If we didn't have our hands, we couldn't create anything. It's the breath of continuance. The breath of continuance, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so that can keep civilization going. The hand, you see. All right. And what happens then when you produce things with your hand? Add the A at the end, Hanna. You've got the Anna, which means the harvest. You end up getting a harvest. You plowed a field with your hands. You end up having a harvest. It's a metaphor for plowing the field to become one with Yeshua and Yavohe. And as a result, you will have a harvest. You will be the harvest. You will be harvested out of this garden and taken back to the atom in the spirit of life, back to the light, connected, one, plugged in with the light, where he, known also as the servant hand wants to serve you, wants to serve me. He doesn't, in the interplay, he's more concerned with serving us than, you know, it's a give and take, of course, right? We serve him, but he is the servant hand. I had a great vision when I was stuck in Louisiana back after I lost my apartment, and I had a dream, and it was this coiled serpent, and in the middle was a hand, and the hand was holding the sun in his hand, and the hand itself was the head of the serpent, the hand, okay, and in the hand was a shining orb of the sun. And what he was telling me was, I am the servant hand. I want to serve you. I want to serve the people, but I can't serve the people because they can't hear me. They don't get the picture. They don't know who I am. You see, okay? Okay, Ninja, you have a quick question. I have a quick question that's been bugging me. It's a bit silly, but relevant. Okay, call in now. Come on. Come on down. Give me a voice break anyway. I can use it. And in the meantime, I'll start. So I'll get back to, so Yuda, while we're waiting for Ninja. So Yuda is actually Yutha. The D is a corruption. It's youth. And there you hear the word youth, you see? And so what I say, Yuda represents the dot, the smallest symbol, and it represents the youth. That's when we're the most powerful, right? Our physical strength is in our youth. When we're a teenager, we can keep on ticking, right? And so that's the point. And that's why Yuda remained last after Israel, misnomered as Israel, was done away with. Yutha, the point was left. The dot was left. And it represents the sun. The dot, the smallest, represents the largest. You see, just like I mentioned the atom earlier. That's the way it goes. You've got to read the symbol, ladies and gentlemen. That which is least is like that which is greatest, and that which is greatest is like that which is least. And Ninja, good to have you. You're on the broadcast. What's up down there today?
Hello. It's cold.
Okay, now speak up. Hold on. Let's get that volume. Let me see if the volume's up on this one. Hang on. Oh, I got to turn it up. Okay, hang on. Okay, I got full volume. Try again.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, hey, that's a pretty good saying, huh? What's up, down under?
It's cold down here.
All right.
Yeah. My quick question. It's been bugging me. You know how in school I used to write in capital letters. It was just more comfortable to write that way,
Yeah.
and I always got in trouble for doing it.
That's how I began too. Nobody corrected me. I was stuck in capital letters. Go ahead.
Yeah, you couldn't understand. My other writing was incomprehensible unless I really tried really hard, and it didn't last long. I'd go for a paragraph and then go funny again. Yeah, so I wrote in capital letters. And you know how you type in capital letters, like in your comments, and like you just type in capital letters. I'm still learning here, so I noticed that the common, I don't want to say misconception, the common, I don't know, when people writing capital letters, it's assumed that they're yelling. And I'm wondering if that's a deliberate kind of related to programming, like it should be the opposite. You know what I'm getting at? I don't know how to explain it very well.
Yeah. No, I know what you're saying. I used to have a few friends that pulled that one on me. Hey, stop yelling at me, okay? Well, forgive me, but I do wear glasses and I have trouble seeing things on the computer, so maybe it helps me. But it's somebody's own gut reaction to all capital letters, but it's nonsensical because some people just prefer to use capital letters. Like I say, some people have trouble seeing, and therefore, but this is an important point, you see, because what we have is a dual system. We have capital letters and we have minuscule letters. We got two alphabets, small letters and big letters, and this has never happened before in history. All civilizations throughout all time only had one alphabet, you see, and so we got a dual alphabet, and they blended them together. And that's, again, called Babylon and confusion. The capital letters are our original alphabet, and therefore that would have been the only alphabet we would have used, would have been all those capital letters. So people are just a little confused today, and it's sort of more like a joke, oh, stop yelling at me. And if they took it seriously, then they really got a problem because it's nonsense, okay? I know it can come across that way to people, and some people might be inclined to just use capital letters when they're, say upset or angry about something. That is true. But from my standpoint, I do it for effect, for ease for other people to see it, like on the chat when I'm typing, or just because I'm tired. I'm too tired at night, and therefore I don't want to do upper and lower case, and I'll just type an email with all capital letters, right?
Well, because I've always preferred writing, like handwriting, in capital letters, and it's just more comfortable. And going through the system, like school and life, just with typing, if I want to emphasize something, I'll use capital letters. And conform to how everybody else writes. I want to learn how to type properly. Like I can't see the chat at the moment, but I see all you other guys, like especially Lynn. Hi, Lynn. Typing the words properly, like putting the Y in the word light, and I've tried it a couple of times. It feels a bit weird, but I want to start doing it properly. So just so you know. Yeah,
because the I is a corruption, and the I, the dot is actually the moon, and that's why it's called the blind. I call it the blind. It's the blind eye, but it creates a blind because when you remove the letter I, which is of the Luciferian darkness, then you may have to replace it with another vowel like the A or the O. But once you either remove it, just pull it out, then the word is more clearly revealed, or you just change it for another vowel like the Y or the A, and then it's more correct. So light, obviously, the light cannot be associated with the moon because the moon has no light, and that's why you would change the I to a Y, which is the primary word yellow for the yellow light of the sun, and that's where we get Yah love. The word yellow is Yah love. It's right in the word. You hear it?
Yeah. Thank you. I love this. This is so cool.
Yeah. The love is in the light. Mm-hmm. Okay. So did that help you?
Yes. That helps a lot. Thank you.
Anything else?
My light is back. Just so you know. No, that would be all. Thank you.
Oh, okay, Ninja. Thanks for touching base. Good to have you.
Okay, thank you. Love you.
Love you. You're welcome. See you on the chat. All right. And so that was Ninja Cat. And so getting back on point now, and certainly anybody's welcome to call in during the broadcast here. Love to hear from you. So the point signifies. So I told you about Yuta now and Yutha, and how the symbolic nature of the point. The point is the most powerful. Why? The dot is the most powerful. Why? Because it stops everything. It stops everything. Okay? The dot stops everything. So that's the sun, right? That's the light. The nature of the light. That's Yeshua. Yeshua is the light, and he stops anything anytime he wants to stop it. And yet it's represented as the little point. So he comes down to be like us when he's the great Olav Haim. He's more powerful than the sun itself, but he comes down, incarnates into the form of the flesh, becomes like us so that we can become like him. It says we were to be like stars of heaven. So we're to have a transformation of being from a lower level to a higher level. Okay? It's certainly hard to comprehend what it means to be like something other than what we are now, but and imagine you're never going to go to sleep again either when you're in that state. Wherever he is, he don't sleep. Look, he maintains everything. Everything is maintained. You want to talk about power? Talk about energy. Whoa, it's beyond our comprehension of this transformation of being that we're on the journey of. That is something so far more than anything we can hardly wrap our mind around. Okay, so we'll keep things simple, but there are things that are beyond the world that we cannot define. When everything in this world can be defined outside the world, that's really the great mystery, because how can we wrap our mind around that, right? To become and to go where Yeshua is, you see. So the point signifies unity, origin, and the center. It also represents the principles of manifestation and emanation. And hence, in some mandalas, the center is not actually shown, but must be imagined by the initiate. There are two kinds of point to be considered: that which has no magnitude and is symbolic of creative virtue, and that which, as suggested by Raymond Lull in his Nova Gematria, has the smallest conceivable or practicable magnitude and is a symbol of the principle of manifestation. Most of Leon defined the nature of the original point as follows: this degree is the sum total of all subsequent mirrors, that is, of all external aspects relating to this one degree. They proceed therefrom because of the mystery of the point, which is in itself an occult degree emanating from the mystery of the pure and awe-inspiring ether. The first degree of all is absolutely occult, meaning it's hiding. That's what it means. It's hiding. It's not occult in the negative sense, like the atom, right? The atom is all around us, and we're made of the atom, but we don't see it. We see what it does, but we don't never see the atom. Continuing. Where'd I go here? Okay, the first degree of that point is an absolute occult. That is not revealed. There you go. And cannot be attained, or that is, by implication, cannot be seen with the naked eye. The explanations why the center, identical with the mystic point of Moses of Leon, is usually represented as a whole, and that's HOLE. The point is represented as a whole. Okay, so there's was my definition for today that I was on that read, and I said, hey, I think I'll that's a good one to read today. And good morning, Ya'Love. Glad to have you. So let me put that back on the shelf here. Oh boy, say it. Get discombobulated here. Hang on. Okay, and want to welcome any new listeners to the broadcast. Love having you all. I'll tell you what, I'm going to turn on my air conditioner, do a quick musical interlude, and then I'm going to be on with the read from the original gospel, okay? So stand by. Don't go away. I'll be right back. And I'm going to show you that 0 point on my radio network as well. I think I can pull it up just so you get the picture at the same time, okay? All right. Glad to have you. And stand by. I'm going to turn on my air conditioner, okay? Hang on. Okay. I can do more multitasks on one break after all these years of broadcasting, so it's not hard to do. Good morning, Hans. Hey, good to have you on the program. All right. And used to tell everybody to breathe deep all the time, but I don't tell anybody to breathe deep anymore with those skies up there, what they're doing. Okay. So now I'm going to try to do techno magic and see if we can't get the desktop going here. How are we going to do this? Boom. Boom. Okay, there's the desktop. I'll pull that down. Oh, geez, what happened? Isn't that wild? Wait a minute. I hit the wrong thing. That's what I did. I hit the wrong thing. All right, try this again. Now that don't look right. Let me do this. Okay, now I'm going to pull that up. And I want to see if this thing works out. Okay, what I need to know is Is everything looking normal? Are you looking at my desktop? Give me a heads up. I'm going to jump over now. I guess not yet. Hopefully this thing will clear out of the way. I'm not used to doing this, ladies and gentlemen, so forgive me. But I think, okay, yeah, I'm on about a minute delay now too. Okay, so let's see if it pops up right. Okay, I think I'm getting close. I think we're getting close here. Well, this delay is really rough, you know, because I'm trying to get something going here, and it's not quite. I've got to prove this out. Come on, I think I'm getting close here. Come on, Desert, what's going on? I did the desktop thing yesterday, and it worked real fine. So, so this isn't looking good. Okay, I thought I was going to be able to show the my network, unless that's because I'm showing that. Oh, geez. All right, I really I probably need to just go and look at this again. Does not anybody see? There it is. Okay, okay, I got it now. All right, forgive me. So there's 0 point, ladies and gentlemen. All right, and I was going to scroll up. The time delay is really a killer because it takes a while to figure out what's going on here, and I'm not good at this. So that's 0 point. Okay, the center in the circle, the mandala, and then we can look right here. That's outside the Vatican. Another 0 point, and they're blowing west. That's actually pointed right towards West Point, the military school right outside the Vatican in New York State, and that's where they brainwashed the cadets to be the leaders of the military to go kill yourself. Go out there and kill yourself, okay? Phony war, and we'll give you a dime to do it. And there's the fasci right on the dime. Nobody gets the picture of the symbol. There's the Knights of Columbus. That's K Knights of Columbus, Columbia, okay? And then there's 0 point again right there. You see, right in the middle, you got the 0 point, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just going to flip over real quick to see if it's working. Yeah, and it is. Okay, that's great. Okay, and then scrolling down further, there's the eclipse of the sun. The squigglies are the sun rays, and the narrow points are the moon. You got an eclipse of the sun with the moon. That's an occult. And then you see the nails of Yeshua and the IHS, which is a corruption for the YHVH. This is the Is or Ish is the woman, and therefore giving credit again to the Vatican, the woman. Okay, the whore Babylon, and there we see 0 point again, a little better, right? And so there's the cross, which we find on the British flag, and then the X, which is on the British flag. You see, and then the phallus in the middle, aka the obelisk, and it's known as the British flag. Okay, and it's an overlay of two crosses. It's also then creating a spoked wheel, and this creates the tongs in you know, like in working with metal. It really looks like the tongs for, you know, it was all about the metal. Remember, it was all about the getting the ore and or else, and get those ores and start rowing because we're going to get the ore or else. And so this is a symbol of what they used to make fashion steel. Okay, the tongs. And then you got the building in the cross, 0 points in the middle where they have their mass for the entire mass of the world. And the cross is really the symbol of the black sun, okay? And because the circle is the symbol of the light, okay? Circle is a symbol of light. Cross is the symbol of the black sun. It's known as, and it's a symbol of warfare, symbol of crucifixion, and a code of destruction when you turn it over 90 degrees into an X, okay? So not what we think, ladies and gentlemen. Symbols are not what we think is not what we think, okay? It's different. So just wanted to share that with you. And now let's go to the original gospel, shall we? All right. So let's see here. Where are we at? Click on this. All right. And we're in the original gospel. And you can stop this page since I got it on the page, or you can stop this and read it. I think this quote by Young is rather important to read. right here. Let me just go back up. There's the opening page, ancient literature. Here's one statement I make about letters. All letters are pictures, and they are all ancient symbols, and they are all true spiritual seeds of light that tell a real story as they carry with them a dual theme about the great mystery of life. You can now follow this pure trail all the way back in time, back to its very root, the root I, all the way back as we venture on then into that very beginning of time. Okay, so that's when I was pulling this stuff together, I wrote that. Then this paraphrase by Robert Young, who gave us the Young's Concordance, okay, out of Edinburgh, Scotland, and he also gave us the literal translation, or the is it the literal? I think it's called the literal translation of the Bible. Okay, it's a little awkward to read, but it is very powerful. He was far afield. Okay, was the all-time expert. His concordance is better for word definition, but the Strong's is better for finding stuff. You know, but yeah, but Young is really fantastic. So he says, paraphrasing by Robert Young, there is no future tense in Hebrew or Aramaic. This is important to note because you'll note that they gave us future tense in our scriptures, ladies and gentlemen, when there is no future tense, and therefore it creates illusions that are not necessarily true or correct. Just like in the Old Covenant, when they talked about the Mashiach, that he was going to come, they didn't say he's coming in the future. They would have said he has come. He has come. You see, just like we talked about the sunrise, and you never doubt that the sun is going to rise, the sun's already here, right? So he has come. He comes, or the way it would be said perhaps would be he comes. He comes, and therefore it's all present tense, okay? Because he's an absolute. There's no question whether he's a savior, whether he can save us, or whether he wants to save us. That conjecture just doesn't fit within the realm of our Redeemer. He made this entire universe for us, just for us, so that he could harvest us into the realm of light back home, okay? So there is no future tense in Hebrew or Aramaic, as future tense is expressed as present tense. The Hebrew verb Nathan, sometimes also a noun, is rendered by the King James translators in 67 different ways. Give me a break. You think you got a good translation with that? One word in the Hebrew being transformed into 67 different structures? That's Robert Young, Young's Analytical Concordance. The above final quote by Young expresses what cannot be if one is guided towards the truth in the scripture. It is impossible for one English word to do the business for 67 other Yiddish, Hebrew, or Greek words. This expresses nothing other than a fraud in our modern day translations. Perhaps this is the reason King James had his lamp put out, which is an idiom that means having your seed line cut off, which is what happened when his son, King Charles, had his head cut off. In other words, the evidence is that King James was cursed. In essence, the King James Bible is merely a theft of intellectual property that was stolen from William Tyndale. The KJV is in all actuality 90% William Tyndale, and all the KJV translators had to do was to remove anything that had the potential to really set someone free from the government. They didn't want that, and then they just included all their codes. They put their codes in there, and with the Metzerites working with Jewish Kabbalism, okay, making it a code book. The above statement is a fact of history that anyone can research for themselves, as I am looking at my copy of Tyndale in front of me as I make this statement. Another fact is that Tyndale's introduction is the most sophisticated introduction in all of modern translation history. William Tyndale was, in essence, an enlightened intellectual genius. The only thing that the KJV controllers had to do was to destroy the great work of Tyndale, burn him at the stake, cover its true origin, and then take credit for what was merely the illusion of religious freedom. The enlightened only want the truth, and deep from the tree's root. It is all an open secret, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, and then here's the definitions for translate and transliterate. This way you've got a picture of it. Otherwise, you can get a copy if you want to get a copy of the Real Da Vinci Code Etymological Dictionary, or the Book of Wisdom, or the original Gospel with the dictionary at the back. I've got a dictionary all the way back here. Let me just show you real quick, okay? I'll go to it. Okay, so here's in S, okay, we got shelter, the pure law. That's the original word for law right here, shelter. Shalat, shalom, shal. All these words that have definite meaning and are important. There's Savior, Shavor. I do have some graphics in here. It's all an open secret, ladies and gentlemen, but we don't know where to dig. That's the problem, okay? Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty Dumpty back together again. See, once the truth is known, it shatters the Humpty Dumpty, right? And you can't go back. You know that. When you know the truth, you can't go back, ladies and gentlemen. You can only move forward. It's tough to go through the swamp, but we've got to go through the swamp of history, the forbidden history and time. Yeah, here's like a graphic, okay, of when I pulled together the alphabet. All right, there's Phoenician symbol right there, and Pharisees, Philo, definition on Philo. So I've got a lot of stuff in here. There's 100 pages of this, okay, 100 pages. So if you go to therealpublicradio.net, okay, therealpublicradio.net, there's a PayPal button there. Any size donation, I'll get it to you after the program. You'll get it, and if you don't have any of that money, then just let me know you need a copy anyway, and I'll be glad to get it to you. All right, we're not in commerce. We're just trying to raise funds so we can publish our work, so we can get things produced, because we do it on a song, a wing, and a prayer, and you are our prayer, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so I've got all the motivation to do this, but it's been tough doing it as a one man operation, but I know that Yahweh is working on the side and making things happen, and I'm rather certain it's his purpose that these works would be published. So I'll give you an example of the first chapter of, and so what I'm doing basically is I'm pulling together all of the different scriptures and bringing them into one original gospel. All the missing pieces, bringing them back together. It's required, because the fragmentation is so great when I've got these wonderful translations that came out of Tibet and other parts of the world, other libraries, other stolen works from us, and bringing them all back. And then we'll have the old-time epic, the epic story of Yeshua, the original gospel. Okay? So let me just take a sip. I think I'm going to have to start doing throat exercises. I'm telling you, I never had this problem before. I haven't been broadcasting in 6 years now. It's like, okay, I know I got a little older here. And it's just, yeah. Okay, well, my nutritionals are kicking in and helping out. And so hopefully, I'll be getting better at this real soon here. I'm not done yet, ladies and gentlemen. The Proclamation, chapter 1, by Yalchanun, John the Harbinger, more correctly, because Harbinger is in a kind of ambiguous, I think. Herald, you know what a herald is, okay? He was the herald. I'll have to change that next round I do. The beginning of the gospel, the star message of light, evangelion. And so I give both the modern and the original here in paren. And I'm experimenting with the style, so it's not that this is the exact style. I'm still working with it, but I just want you to get the picture here. I've got to give both in different periods, because some people just don't want to work. They don't want to have to learn something new. They're very stubborn. Mankind is very stubborn, but we have to read it again. We have to go back to the original thought, to the original diction. That's the only way we can go back, ladies and gentlemen. Home. The only way we can go back home is to unravel the mystery, and the mystery is in the shavors, in the words. Okay, so in the beginning of the start message of light, Yeshua the Mashiach, commonly known as Jesus the Christ, the Son of God, the seed of light, the seed of the sun, as the word, the flaming sword, the shavor that goes round is scribed in the navigators, Ishayal and Meleke. You must see and read it for yourself as you give ear, my royal messenger, the Malachim, before your face, before the sunrise, have I sent to level out and to make clear the royal highway before you. He is the voice of the one, making his proclamation going out on a barren wasteland. Prepare, prepare, true Eshareel, and straighten out your path. Be ready now to meet your royal ruler, who is even now standing at the temple gate. You must see and read it for yourself. Your royal ruler has now come. The navigators sparked about him, and the wise blood of the earth have looked for him. Prepare, true Eshareel, prepare to meet your royal ruler. He comes, Prince of the Shalom, of eternal peace, the royal ruler of the perfection within the pure shelter of the Travain law and in the Travain love. He is the royal domain of the inner soul, the shul. The eyes of blood of the earth cannot see it, and not anyone can give an entrance but the pure in heart. Not anyone can gain an entrance but the pure in heart. So prepare, true Eshareel, prepare to meet your royal ruler. I am the voice of the one, making a proclamation out of on this barren wasteland. Correct your ways and make clear your one true path, because the true Prince of the Shalom of eternal peace has come to rule in the Travain love. The Travain is the 3 in 1. That's the sun, earth, and moon. They create life together. The earth is the bridal chamber. Verse 4. The Shavor, the royal center of Yavohe, came to Yochanan bar Zechariah as he first appeared albavatazing out on the barren wasteland, and he traveled around the entire region of the Jordan while proclaiming the burial rite of purification within repentance, which means the rebreath of a star. You have to become a star, ladies and gentlemen, and shine in the darkness for forgiveness and the putting away of the blindness of the eyes. So the entire domain of Yutha, and all the people of Jerusalem went out to give ear and to hear him. And then he started burying and washing all of them within the Jordan. The river of judgment, the river of light, is the river of judgment. After they had first professed their blindness, their closing of the eyes, the A, they took away the A as the dominant vowel and they made it an E in our modern diction. They took away the A. They closed your I to the A. Yochanan was finally dressed with a mashlach of woven camel's hair of many colors, all with a leather girdle pulled tight around his waist. His food was that of locust carob and the wild honey of the field, nuts and other fruit. He breathed out his proclamation. You must see and read it for yourself. I have in truth come only to prepare, to wash, and to bury, and then prepare you for your transformation in this age of the rebreath. Since it is right after me that he comes, the I, who is far greater than I am, the one whose inheritance I am not even worthy of my eyes, nor able to bend down and pick it up and to receive it, nor to redeem. He is walking now and is standing out there among you, but you cannot see him. I have albafatazed, made the serpent pure and white, buried you with water, the viater, but the I, the A, he will bury you with the great breath of the wind and fire, the pure breath. His sifting fan is now in his hand, so that he can purge his threshing floor and then gather his pure wheat into his own barn. But the garbage he will then cast out and burn it in a fire that will never be put out. And that's the fire that's out there in the outer darkness, ladies and gentlemen. It's not about going to hell for eternity. That's the Babylonian Vatican lie. It's the hell that is out there in the outer darkness, okay? Because they're not in Yeshua. He initiated a new age, and it is the age of golden light. And the old world died, as it says in Hebrews 9:26. And then at the end of the world, he came. And he established a new world, and it's the world of the great mystery in the secret kingdom that is here right now, that anyone can enter. And if they're not in it, they're not in the light, and they're in the outer darkness where there is weeping and gnashing of teeth. Do we not have 12 hours of light in a day and then 12 hours of darkness, give or take, right? Because it's telling us there's a duality here right now. You're either in the light or you're in the outer darkness where there's weeping and sorrow and warfare. We don't participate in warfare. We don't get caught up in it. That's their world. This proclamation occurred in Bath Habar, towards the sun on the east side of the Jordan, where Yochanan was then alphabetizing, making the serpent pure and white. That's how you fix the serpent, you see, that destroyed Hadam and Keva. For the rebreath of a star. They came from a star. Hadam did, right? He came out of the atom, the Eden of the sun, and he came down to the lower garden, and then he fell. The fall in the first instance was just coming out of the light, but the second one was when he didn't listen. 9. It was at this time, at the end of the age, that Yeshua the Nazarene came out from Galilee. There was no Nazareth, okay? Another lie, great lie of history. There was no Nazareth. A town for Nazareth was created by Constantine and his mother when she went back to Jerusalem, because they had to cover for the meaning of the word Nazareth. Okay? And came out from Galilee. The joyous circle of light and virtue. That you're going to get meaning of words in here. You've been reading all your life, and you didn't know the meaning, ladies and gentlemen. They never wanted you to know, okay? That's why they broke up the spelling of the words. They abbreviated them, so you can never get these great and deep meanings. Everything is to be read. Everything had a bearing that told you where you are in the story. Okay, they hung out in Galilee. The circle of light is the lake, right? The 10 cities called Decapolis, but Decapolis means the 10 cities, but they never tell you that either. They want you to be lost and stupid and hope that you never come out of it. Being alphabetized and buried by Yochanan in the Jordan. When Yochanan saw Yeshua standing up in a large gathering of people, he breathed out, "Look, the royal ruler who now comes in the royal title of Yahweh." Then Yeshua breathed before Yochanan, "I need to be washed within the waters of this purification for the cleansing reaction for the inner soul." But Yochanan refused him by breathing, "You don't need to be washed, for you are already pure in every thought, word, and action. And if you need to be washed, then I'm not worthy to perform this sacred rite on you. I need to be alphabetized by you. So why is it that you are now coming to me? Allow this to happen, since we are required to do this, all in order to establish the true pattern for all of our actions, and for the fulfillment within the perfection, within the pure shelter of the Trevane law of the light. I came to establish the true pattern for the true seed of light, since whatever I ask them to do, that I must also be willing and able to do. So then Yochanan finally consented, and then he alphabetized him. Then, at that very moment, just as he stood up out from underneath the river, all while he stood there preparing, creating light, we saw the clouds open up, a small window directly above us, while a beam of light from the sun came shining down directly through it, as all with the focus of an eagle, focusing down directly on him, as the sign of the great breath of the wind and fire, the Holy Spirit, the eye, he standing there alone, purified in the water, and in that light, all with the brightness of a pure white dove. And you see how they watered that one down totally, because it was not a dove that came down. It was the bright white light with the brightness of a pure white dove. And it had the focus of an eagle, because imagine him, he's just there in the water by himself, just like he was standing on a stage and everybody's on the shore. And they see that light come down, focusing on him with the focus of an eagle. And that's in that is literally in the most ancient document. It says with the focus of an eagle. So you got to get the picture of what it would have looked like to them. Okay, a dove landing on his shoulder would have meant nothing. What about the clouds parting a window, a bright light coming down as bright as white, with the focus right directly on his very being, standing in the water? What more of a dramatic vision could you have than that? And then the voice that came down through the clouds, the Shem Me'em, directly from the sun, breathing, "You are my son and only loved seed." Not beloved. Beloved's a corruption. You don't get the picture. Yeshua is the only loved, and the only perfect seed. He is the perfect seed. That's why he is only loved. He is the first made. He is the perfect image, and we have to fall into him, to be buried with him, in him, and become one with him. One with him. What part of one with him don't we get? The anointed seed of the Son, the Moshiach, and the divine love, the Trevane love of Yahweh, who is Olafim, revealed, in whom I find my only delight. And on this Diel, in this great age of golden light, I have engendered you. So give him your ear. This is when Yochanan became the witness for the voice. He heard it, and he comprehended the message of that voice, stating, "I saw the great breath of the wind and fire, the A Spirit, the Holy Spirit, coming down through a window up in the sky, focusing down directly upon him, and all with the brightness of a pure white dove, while it remained there and focused directly upon him with the eye, the A of an eagle." It's not eagle, it's eagle, the A-gull, the highest point, the highest vision. Now I myself, I did not know him, but the one who sent me to alphabetize in water, he breathed upon me, upon the one that you see, the great breath of the wind and fire, the A Spirit focusing directly upon him with the great light. He is the alphabetizer of the great breath of the wind and fire. And I myself have now seen and have presented by all of my evidence that this is indeed the seed of the sun, the first Olafim, the seed of light, the seed of Yahweh. This is the one of whom I sparked. The I who comes after me is far ahead of me in rank, since he is before me and is above me, and out of his fullness and perfection we are all supplied with his gifts, supplied upon gifts, his favor for all. Now the pure shelter, the law, was given in part by Moshe El, but the favor for all, the truth from the tree's root, are now the true gifts come into all their fullness, being and completion through the perfect operation by Yeshua the Moshiach. Okay? The fullness and the completion. What part of it is finished don't people get? When he was up nailed to the tree, the final thing he had to do. Okay? It's all right here. He's here. You know, people still talking about him coming back. He rose from the dead. What part of coming back don't people get? He came back. He said, I had victory of light. All power is given unto me. I am with you always, even unto the end of the earth. I am with you always. You see how they've been programmed? No man has ever seen Yahweh, who is Elohim, at any time, except for the only engendered firstborn seed, who is from the bosom, the source of the eternal Father, and who he chooses to reveal him. This is the pure declaration for the clarification by Yochanan, John. Then Yeshua went on his way while Yochanan continued to reach out to the creation, to that very great gathering of people who followed. And then his spirit, the great breath of the wind and fire, the A Spirit, Holy Spirit, immediately led him out away from the Jordan crossing and into the desert of the Jordan Valley, under the influence of the pure Spirit, the great breath of the wind and fire, to be tried and tested by the adversary of all mankind, the serpent, flesh. And that's, you're going to see how they covered this story up, okay? You need to get the picture, ladies and gentlemen, because they got you associating with things that are not real and misassociating with what is real. And it is real. I like that. It sounds like Israel. Is real is your flesh. And this is what we have to conquer, because it can't go with us. It has to die. There's two of us. One of them has to die, and you're going to see how he's tested right here. And this isn't the entire episode. It's only the first part that I put together, and it's the most important and significant one of them all. And they reversed it also. They reversed the entire story, and it's all fragmented in the scriptures, and that's why we need to bring it back together in one epic now. It's time, because it's 2,000 years after fragmentation, and it needs to be restored back to the original thought and the original storyline and picture. And Yeshua breathed, "Fly away from me, ever tempting and deceiving thought. My heart is fixed and firm. I disdain this serpent flesh with all of its vain and clever ambition, along with its pride of self." While he remained in this isolated place for 40 suns and 40 darknesses being tested, wrestling with his own egocentric sharfan. The sharfan is the original word for the serpent, and it was corrupted into the word Satan, and they disassociated it from us. As James Yaakov said, we are tempted when we are drawn away by our own lusts and enticed. It doesn't say we are tempted when we are drawn away by the devil or by Satan. It says we are tempted when we are drawn away by our own lust and enticed. And after the enticement is finished, it brings forth death. Okay? He was wrestling with his own egocentric sharfan. Come on, he's not eating. He's not, for 40 days. And he ate no food. Nor did he drink any water for this period of time. But, he did bathe himself in the Jordan, want to clarify. And because he studied the ancient practices of healing, he knew to take a long trailing gourd, and he put water in it, and then he put it upside. He got his rectum upside down next to a tree and put the water in his colon, and then he would meditate and pray while he maintains the water in the colon, and it absorbs into his body. And this is in the, by the way, in the Gospel of the Essenes. Okay, this is preserved in the Gospel of the Essenes. Obviously, he was a man. Obviously, he needed water. But the fact that it showed his discipline is that he didn't drink any water, but he used his body as a sponge to absorb the water every day, probably several times a day, and then also used the long trailing gourd to get the water right in his body, okay? So he was a master, the all-time master, but he was flesh and blood, okay? I have to make that clarification. And he ate no food nor drank any water for this period of time. Then when he thought that he had finally prevailed and he was at the very point of starvation, his adversarial serpent flesh breathed before him, his ego. Since you are the seed of the son of Yahweh, then you know that you can simply command that these stones right here to become bread if you want to save yourself. Well, at the same time, he was being confronted by wild beasts who were now waiting for his death to prey upon him. They were flying overhead, and the creatures were on the ground. They saw he was dying. But in response to this hard temptation, Yeshua quoted the scripture, the Shultres, and he breathed. The eye breathed. So he afflicted him, but thereby he perfected him with an even greater hunger, as I fed him with a manna that your fathers never knew, so that he could then seed plant in all of you that blood of the earth does not live by earthly bread alone, but by every shavor, every word, every flaming sword of fire at the royal center that has proceeded out of the mouth of Yahweh. And this is how you must live. And this then is the very moment when the royal family, the Malachim, also known as royal messengers, also corrupted into angels, had just found him lying in this condition of near starvation. And so they quickly administered their personal aid, all in order to save his life. So he resisted the temptation to feed himself, but we know he could turn stones into bread because he fed 5,000 people from 5 loaves, right? And 2 fishes, right? So we know he could do it. He could have done it. He refused to do it. He conquered the self, conquered the ego, conquered the flesh, and became the all-time master on planet Earth, the one who made all things. Go figure. This is then how Yeshua left the barren lowland, all within a completed awareness, now by the full conquering of the self and by the full connection by the Holy Spirit, the great breath of the wind and Feyor, the pure breath, as he then came down into the Dead Sea caves and to the pure community of the Nazarene, Essene, where he stayed for a short time and where he planted his first royal seed. Why? Because the Essene had been preparing themselves for decades, if not over 100 years. They knew that the priesthood was corrupt in Jerusalem. Jerusalem was now irrelevant, and the true followers were living in caves along the Dead Sea. And that's why he went there first. They wore white robes. They were good to go. They called themselves the sons of fire. From this time on, Yeshua started his proclamation by breathing, "Be transformed in your thoughts and in your thinking." Isn't that what we got to do here? For the royal domain, the creation that goes round in the great house of the Son, the kingdom of heaven, has come. The exciting news soon spread far and wide that Yeshua, from the royal line of David, the royal ruler of Israel, had come to Bethany. So all the people of the town came out to meet the royal ruler. Then Yeshua stood in the center of them all and breathed out, "You must see and read it for yourself. The truth from the tree's root. Your royal ruler has come." But this Yeshua is not an earthly ruler. The royal domain of the Son has truly come, but the earthly creation of men cannot see it with the eyes of flesh. They can't see their royal rulers seated on the throne of the sun with earthly eyes, because this is the royal domain of the soul, of the mind. So its throne is not on the earth or any earthly throne, since its ruler is not blood of the earth, but the A spirit. No earthly ruler needs to fear a Malachim, royal messenger from the throne of the sun, who Yahweh, the giver of endless light, has sent down to earth. I am not sent to earth to rule as Caesar rules. So you can't tell, though, you can go tell those rulers of the Hebrews that I am not come as a claimant for his throne. Blood of the earth, Hadom, the creation of judgment, call me the Moshiach, and Yahweh, giver of endless light, Dios, God, who is the great Elohim, has anointed this title. But a Moshiach is not an earthly creation. The Moshiach is omniversal love, and this Travain love is the royal ruler. This Yeshua is merely blood of the earth. Hadam, who has been prepared by many temptations overcome, by many tests and trials in many forms, to become a pure temple through which the Moshiach can be revealed before mankind. So then give ear, you blood of the earth, Hadom, the creation of judgment of Esha, and give me your ear. Do not look towards nor follow after the flesh, because it can't be the royal ruler, but look towards the Moshiach, who must be formed within you, in every single one of you, just as it is formed in me. So it is, when you have purified your hearts by the victory of light, your royal ruler will enter in. And the victory of light is conviction, and conviction is the root. Conviction is the victory of light. Will enter in and make his home with you, and you will be my eye, my A witnesses to my own great sunrise. Then the people asked, what must we do that we may make our bodies a fit home for our royal ruler? Yeshua breathed, whatever tends towards purity of thought and word and positive action will all cleanse out the temple of the Sharfan, the serpent flesh. We need to put it under our feet. There are no exact same rules that can apply for all men, because men are specialists in closing their eyes in darkness, and everyone each has their own stumbling block or hurdles that they may each need to work diligently to overcome. And so everyone must study for themselves how they can best transmute their own tendencies towards these acts of blindness into that of perfection within the pure shelter of the Travain law in light and love. Until men reach the higher plane and move away from their self-centered nature, this rule can apply for all and provide some of the best results. Do for all others what you would have them do for you. So start there. Then many of the people breathed, we know that Yeshua is the Moshiach, the royal ruler who it was predicted would come. Anointed is his royal title. 14. And we still got everybody with us? Okay. I just want to check the board out real quick. Let me get back to it. Okay, where are you at here, Desert? All right, 14. Okay. It was soon after the arrest and imprisonment of Yalkanun, when Yeshua had learned all about it and he was returning to Galilee, proclaiming the star message of light and truth, for the great cause of the royal domain in the great house of the sun, the new creation of Yahweh, the kingdom of Elohim, the kingdom of heaven. As he breathed, the end of all time has now come. There you go. The end. Why? Because it's now a day without end, dominant. Eternity is here right now. Tell me not time is not marching forward forever. It's an illusion. Time is an illusion by the sun and moon. As he breathed, the end of all time has now come. For the royal domain in the great house of the sun, the kingdom of Yahweh has come. Has come. And some people actually still waiting for the kingdom. They're still talking about it like it's something to come in the future, and they don't get it. What part of the kingdom of heaven is at hand? Don't they get? Well, it's the word "at" that threw them off. It's in your hand right now. It's yours to take it. Rebreathe with the breath of a star. Have I an eye to see and follow the star message that one must put on. He was walking along the shore by the Sea of Galilee when he saw Shimon, who he called Kephe, not Peter, Kephe, and his brother Antrav, throwing their nets into the sea as they were fishermen by trade. Yeshua then called out to them, "My supporting breath, my eyes, come out and follow me, and I will show you how to ensnare and catch the hearts of blood of the earth for the star creation." And so they immediately left the attendants for all of their nets, and they followed him. Moving further down on the shore, he saw Yaakov, and his brother Yalkanun, sons of Zebedee, which means the sons with the gift. They couldn't put it in the document because they could have been killed. So they used the code, the sons of Zebedee. Why don't we ever meet Zebedee? Why was it so important to say? Because it's a code. It means the sons with the gift of writing, being Levitical scribes. They were also that's why they went everywhere. Yeshua went exclusively when none of the others did. It was Yaakov, Yalkanun, and Kephe, Peter, James, and John. And they were also in a boat and hanging up their nets. Well, they had to fish too to make money because being a scribe didn't pay a whole lot, especially when they wanted nothing to do with that corrupt culture. So they'd rather go fish. And when he had called out to them, they immediately left all their nets with their father, Zebedee, and with their hired hands, and they both followed after him. See, they were good to go, weren't they? Of course, they were the scribes waiting for this moment. They were also following John the Baptist prior, okay? And they were writing down his words, by the way, and I've got some of them. Haven't been able to publish that either. Yeshua and his followers went down to the Jordan crossing where Yalkanun was known to seed plant, and great numbers of people were still there. And Yeshua breathed before them all, "The royal domain in the great house of the sun, the pure Yud-Kaimen, the judgment has now come. Yet no one but the pure in heart can ever come into this new royal domain of the pure one. And every son and daughter of the earthly race is being called upon to turn away from their blind and dark actions and to become the pure in heart." The resolution to attain and enter on in through the Mashiach's pure gate must constitute a state of true discipline, and everyone must make a public pledge of his own seeking the truth. That's the Mathayim. A disciple is Mathayim in the original. It means truth seeker, that you are seeking the truth. Yochanan washed your bodies in the river of light, an outward washing, symbolic for the cleansing of the inner shul, the inner soul. in preparation for the coming of the royal ruler and the opening of the Moshiach's pure gate, that is then leading into the royal domain of the pure anointed one. Yalkanun performed a great work, but now the Moshiach's star gate of purity is now opened up, and this purification rite is now established as the pledge and the entrance into your Methaim state of seeking truth. Since this age past has now closed, the great age past has now closed, this will be the pledge and the rite for the new golden age of light that has now come. You know they took these words away from you, ladies and gentlemen, right? You know it. They gave you milk toast. When you had a golden tray that was filled with the greatest knowledge of metaphor and symbol, and it was all smashed when it came out of the east and went through the Vatican into the west. Since the age now past is closed, this will be the pledge on the rite for the new golden age of light that has now come. And this Milcha rite will be called the Alva B'Tezarem, and it will be the sign for blood of the earth and a covenant before Yahweh of blood of the earth's state of seeking truth. That's what it's about, seeking the truth in everything. You blood of the earth, Hadam, of every land, give me your ear. Come on over to me. The Mashiach's royal gate is now opened up. So open up your A's that are now closed in sin, in darkness, and be albavatazed, and make the serpent pure and white. And you will then be entering in through the star gate of life and will meet your royal ruler. The first 6 of the official Malachim, royal messengers who were following Yeshua, were standing right next to him. And he led them down into the Jordan, and he buried them each within the royal title of the Moshiach. And then he breathed before them, my brothers, my supporting power, you are now first to enter on in through the Moshiach's pure royal gate and on into the royal domain of light of the only anointed pure one, as I bury and witness your purification rite of cleansing in the royal title of the Moshiach. So will each of you do the same in the chakra royal title of mine, Yeshua, the Moshiach, Albavatez, and make the serpent, the Sharfan, the royal forces pure and white. All blood of the earth and women who will profess their victory of light, the viction within the Moshiach, and will renounce the closing of the A's, the closing of their eyes. Or maybe they never opened them to close them. They were always closed. And it is truth throughout all time that large numbers of people came down as well and renounced their closing of their eyes in darkness, professing their own victory of light within the Moshiach, and were albavatazed, made the serpent pure and white. The Jordan, the river of light, in the Jordan, the river of light and judgment. And leaving the Nazareh, they all entered into Kafar Nachum, the place of the most powerful name. Why? Because Yeshua lived there. Kafar Nachum, the place of the most powerful name, on the outskirts of the land of Zebulun. Now it being the Shabbat, they immediately went to the temple call, where he was found to be seed planting. While Yeshua was breathing these shavors, the flaming swords of fire from the royal center, those who were there and listening were all astounded by his profound teaching, his seed planting doctrine, since he plowed and planted seed as no one who had the greatest as no one ever before, I guess is what I was going to say, as one who had the greatest authority and nothing like their scribes. Their shofars, because scribe is shofar as well. Now, there was in the temple call a blood of the earth who was by his very nature insane. And he immediately shouted out, yelling, "Not Yeshua, the Nazarene, the fire and lightning come down from above? What do we have in common with you down here? Have you finally come down to torment and to destroy us before it is our time to depart? I clearly see and know who you are, the anointed eye of Yahweh." Then Yeshua sparked out forcefully against him by breathing, "Give me your ear, ill wind. Hold your own tongue and depart from him now." And then this ill wind gave him a terrible seizure, throwing him down on the ground. And then he yelled out with a very loud scream, while this unnatural condition then left him permanently. And everyone that was there became astonished, each asking the other, "What did we just see?" He has a new seed planting, a doctrine that with some greater authority that must be behind it, since he even commands even the ill wind of the insane that they blow away and are seen no more. So the news of his great power immediately spread throughout all the entire coastal region, all around the Sea of Galilee, the joyous circle of virtue and light. As soon as they had left the temple, they then entered into the home of Shemun and Antrav, his brother, along with Yaakov and his brother Yochanun. And then Yeshua saw the mother of Shemun's wife. His mother-in-law was lying there prostrate and sick with a terrible fever, and so they were very quick to tell him about her condition. And so he walked on over to her and took her by the hand, thus causing her to stand up straight. And immediately the fever left her. So she began to serve them, giving them all something to eat. At the end of the Shabbats, when the sun went down, the local people all brought before him anyone who was sick or else suffering from any kind of unnatural condition, and he healed them all. And all by the command of his shavors, the flaming swords of fire from the royal center. It didn't take long, and soon it soon appeared as if the entire village was gathered there, standing outside the door. And he cured any there who were ill. There wasn't one that he didn't cure. He always cured. He was perfect. And there was a wide variety of diseases as well as healing many who were insane, but he would not allow those who were insane to speak out, because some of them were his previous acquaintances when he was young, and they knew him. Very early the next morning, while it was still dark, he got up before everyone else, and he headed out to some isolated place along the shore in order to meditate and to create light. So Shimon and those who followed him then went out looking all around for him. Then after they had found him, they all told him, "Everyone has been searching for you." And so he breathed before them, "Let us walk on and out into the nearby villages, so that I may herald the divine truth from the tree's root there as well, since this is the very reason why I have come." So he was soon found all around that circle of Galilee, heralding the divine truth from the tree's root in all of their temples, declaring the perfect gift in the star message of light and truth for the royal domain in the great house of the Son of the new creation, while driving out every disease and all of the other dark natures, all within the royal title of Yahweh. It soon occurred when in a certain town a leper came calling out to him as he fell down upon his knees at his feet and then begged him by breathing, "If it is your will, you have the power to make me, the mother's eye, clean and pure." Then being moved with divine, that is Travain love, Yeshua had a merciful compassion for him while he stretched out his hand, touching him on the head while breathing before him, Baruch, Baruch, Baruch. I actually have transitional, renderings for some of these original thoughts. I want to clarify that, and that's why you may hear me saying it different than you're reading it, because it is continually unfolding, ladies and gentlemen. The original thought, it's not. It's continuing to unfold, and therefore I continue to work with the Shavors, and they, are sometimes still in the revelation phase where I'm still seeing it more deeper, and that's why I stumble here. But it is the Baruch Ulef in this sense here, endowed and enlightened with a mind's eye for seeing in the night. Are you? For it is my will, be made clean and pure. And having breathed the Shavors, the Savior word, the leprosy totally disappeared and left him as he was now completely cured, pure and clean as if new. Because that's also what Shavor means, is Savior word, the Savior word. It is the word, is it not the word that we need in order to be saved, ladies and gentlemen, right? And the original words have more power. The Shavors, from the royal center. The Shavor in the beginning is the Shavor. And the Shavor is Yahweh. And the Shavor has always been Yahweh. Then they corrupted it to logo and word. Next, he gave him these special instructions as he then sent him immediately on his way with this very important new mission. Listen, tell everyone that you meet, but first go and show yourself to the Kolnun, Amen priest, and offer up what Moshe El prescribed for you for your own cleansing as a proper notice and evidence for all of mankind. But instead, forgetting all of those corrupt priests, he immediately ran off and proceeded to shout out far and wide to the entire region the good news, the excellent report of what had just happened to him, running off in every direction and making it so that Yeshua could no longer openly enter into any village without immediately being surrounded by a very large number of people. So it was then that he could only stay in the outskirts, in the open air of the isolated valleys and hills. But still the people all gathered to see him, and they came from every distant quarter of the region. And then he drew himself into the isolated desert for some meditation and the creation of light. Chapter 2. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Is that not profound? I hope see we still have people here with us, and I couldn't watch the board at all, of course, doing this, and so let me just renegotiate here, and we'll be back on track. And so yeah, good. Okay, see, we're still broadcasting. I was wondering when I can't watch anything if everything's still good. And so you heard it, ladies and gentlemen, right? It's profounder. It's more profound when you bring it back into the original and get all the missing pieces from all the other fragments that have been out there. It's a greater story. It's not milk toast. It's not some watered down French fried and fricasseed leftover from somebody else's dinner. It is a powerful work that Yeshua gives the light in order to breathe back the original thought. This is what's happening right now, happening before your eyes, happening before me. It's been a 40 years plus in the wilderness, actually, and just coming out. And so there you go. I think I've done enough damage to the planet today with the breathings here. And I know that people are going to be trying to figure out what this is all about. And hopefully will see and read it for themselves, because that's the only thing we've got to do, ladies and gentlemen. I can't see things for you. You can't see things for me. We all have to see and read it for yourself. You know, it's what they didn't want you to know that we tell right here, don't you? I was going to do some more reading of other stuff today, but I'm pretty well burned out. You can tell with this epic that I just shared with all of you. Okay, so just don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to know the future and you want to know the sacred past that they've trampled on and spit upon, then you just need to come right here and get the Forbidden History series. What they didn't want you to know, but we tell right here, because somebody's got to do it. And Yeshua just thought I might be able to do it for him. Now, I guess he knew, but I'm still dealing with myself as well, okay, just like all of you. We struggle every day. I hope that you breathe these burning swords and they set you free, because they can. In the beginning is the Shavor, the royal center, and it's all right here. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your prayers and love. Hans, Ninja, Lynn, Sandra, all of you. Y'all love, Liz, okay? Thank you so much for sticking it out with me here. You give me motivation to continue on. I couldn't read like this without knowing that I have wonderful hearts and minds that are trying to make sense out of a bad world, ladies and gentlemen, right? Well, I know you're into the words, Hans. I knew you'd appreciate something like this, if anybody too. Okay? So we'll look for you tomorrow morning. Don't forget I'm here if anybody needs to say hi anytime. Love to hear from you. Peace and love. Thank you, Ninja. I'm into the ancient past and words, and I hate this technology, if you haven't noticed, but we'll figure it out, and we'll get more going on here, Heavenly Father willing, and I'm sure He is. I'll try to do another read tomorrow morning, by the way, okay? I'll do chapter 2. Not as long, but I'm sure you enjoy it. Good night, Sandra.